Now, yesterday, Nigel Farage welcomes Strictly Come Dancing star Thomas Skinner. Well, at least welcomed his support, it seems, for reform anyway. There he is on social media. The businessman who rose to fame on The Apprentice back in 2019 claimed earlier this month that the Prime Minister had made some terrible decisions and is, quote, badly out of his depth. So certainly a lot to talk about. I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by Thomas Skinner himself. Thank you very much for joining us.
Mate, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me down here.
It's great to see you in the studio and not simply down at the CAF.
Well, mate, honestly, this is late for me. I'm normally in bed by now because I start work quite early. So I think this is the latest I've been up, unless I'm not out having a pint or something, in a long time. So,
well, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much. I want to start by asking you why you've decided to, it seems, back reform, back Nigel. Yeah,
I mean, listen, like, there ain't really much choice at the moment, if, in all honesty. What I like about reform personally is I'm a small business owner. I've been working for a long time. I've got the same staff that I've had since I began. And that's because I look after my staff. Without your staff, you ain't got a business. Now, we've got one certain business that makes the same money and takes the same money it has been for the last 6 years. Yet, at the end of each month, you're getting squeezed more and more and more and more and more and more. And people forget that small businesses are the backbone of the UK economy. You know, it's the likes of people like myself and thousands of other businesses that pay the taxes, that pay things like the NHS, like the roads, that keep this fantastic country going. And we haven't had the support that we need. And I just like what reform we're going to do about backing small businesses. And I think Keir, bless him, he's a little bit out of his depth. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, well, talk to me a bit about that, because Keir Starmer is copping it left, right and centre at the moment. And some people will say, oh, well, Nigel, you know, he's not run a business, he's been on the periphery of politics for a while and stuff. So, you know, why would you back him over Keir?
I just feel that Keir has made so many U-turns. I feel like he's sort of flogging a dead horse, in all honesty, and I feel like he's just a little bit stuck, isn't he? You know what I mean? Look, like, I ain't saying Keir Starmer's a bad person, but everything he's promised, he's gone against the opposite, ain't he? Let's have it right. So I just like people to sort of, you know, back British businesses and look after the country and make it beautiful, because it is, you know. I mean, it's great people here, and it's a great place to be. So let's carry on doing it.
In terms of your business, how long do you think you or maybe people who are a bit smaller than you in business can really carry on with this current government?
It's just getting harder and harder and harder, mate. Like, everything's going up. So you just got look. You want wages to go up, you want staff to earn money, but if the business ain't making the profit, you can't do that, you know. And you can't. And a business only works if it's making money. And we are getting squeezed. It is happening. Plus, materials are going up. Everything's got diesel's going up, insurance is going up, you know, rent rates, everything's going up. So there's less and less money to go around in the pot. And that's why I'm a big advocate for supporting local businesses, you know, backing the local economies, putting it back in, you know. I've been at the NEC for the furniture show down there and speaking to thousands of manufacturers, all in the UK, great people. They're all saying the same thing. We're just getting squeezed alive a little bit in a minute. And hopefully there'll be a change, because it is what I said earlier. It is us that are paying the money that keeps the country going.
I do wonder if there's a little bit of disrespect that goes on for people who are actually wealth creators. It always seems to be people telling you, we need to pay more tax then. Go on, if you're earning a bit of money, you need to pay more. You need to give us more. And it's like, well, you know, what about being able to keep a bit of your own wealth, really, because you've worked hard for it? I mean, could you describe a bit what your working day normally looks like? Yeah,
I mean, like, tomorrow morning, 3 a.m, I'll be leaving, going to Billingsgate Market, buying some cockles, mussels, whelks, some cod, some prawns, some lobsters, some lovely Malden oysters, supporting all the UK fishermen, because I've got a fish stall in Brompton, Essex, which then in the morning I'll be setting that stall out, getting the ice on the counter, putting it all out, pricing it all up, weighing it all out, putting up all the whelks and the cockles, so it's ready to go. And by the way, I love that business because I love seafood. And since we've been at the pub, we're at the pub called the Thatcher's Arms in Worley, in Brentwood, near where I live, and it's made the pub busier. Do you know what I mean? So it's a job that I love, business that I love. Then after I've done that, obviously I'll go and have a shower because I'll stink of fish.
Right.
Back down the yard. I've probably been in Dino's Cafe, had a little bit of breakfast by then. back down, get changed, go and pick up my lorry or my Luton. I've got to go down to the yard. I've got a few mattress deliveries to go out with. One delivery's going to ex-footballer Jamie O'Hara.
Right, yes.
So I'm going to let him know, obviously, that Spurs are rubbish the weekend. And,
nice, nice.
And then get the mattresses out. Then I've got to come back tomorrow. I've done a bit of paperwork. Thursday afternoon, do a little bit of paperwork, go through the bits and pieces. Then I've got to sit down, obviously, where I was at the furniture show, I've got to talk to a few manufacturers, ordering some fabrics.
It's just non-stop. It's non-stop.
It don't stop,
And then if you manage to squeeze time in for a pint at the end of the day, it's a bonus. But I've got to ask you, so obviously you've said there really what you want about Nigel. You know, we've been, in your view, quite honest about Keir Starmer. Why not the Tories, then? Why not go for the Tories under Kemi Badenoch?
If I'll be honest with you, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I ain't clued up enough on politics, but to say, you know, why not go for the Conservatives? But you can see, like, Andrew Rosendahl, Robert Jenrick, they're all sort of left Conservative, haven't they, and gone to Reform. And I feel like Kemi, again, is a little bit sort of stuck in the blinkers. Look, the Conservatives didn't do great when they was in power over the past 14 years, whatever it was, 12 years. So, you know, and they didn't do a great job, and things haven't really changed. They're just getting worse. So I think it's time for let's have a change, and let's hopefully back ourselves again. And do you know what I want to see as well? Someone with a little bit of confidence and a little bit of, I'm proud of this country. Let's back it. You know what I mean? Because now I think everyone's sort of a little bit nervous what to say and scared to be, I suppose, politically correct and scared of upsetting someone. Let's just show I'm a patriot. I love our country. Do you know what I mean? I love our people.
Talk to me about that, because look, obviously some people will say, well, you know, if there's a weakness of Nigel, it's the fact that he's been untested in government and all of that. So I suppose it's going to be a kind of wait and see thing there. But you've mentioned a few times in this interview already about loving this country.
Yeah.
What is it you love about Britain?
It's the best place in the world, isn't it? Like, there's no other country like England. You wake up, it's beautiful. The people are great. You know, the weather's like. I'll tell you what, right? I'll go on holiday. We like going to Tenerife, and we love going to Portugal. But you have a week, you have 10 days. You can't wait to get home. You know what I mean, right? And I just love it's the grit in the people. Like, I've worked in the market since I was 14 years old. And there's nothing better than in the weeks run up to Christmas, a buzz of a market getting set up at 5:30 in the morning when it's dark, when everyone's grafting, cheering each other on. That you can smell the bacon and the burgers going on the burger vans, and it's just a wonderful place. And I think, you know, we put the kettle on in a crisis. We are the best country in the world, and we've sort of lost our identity a little bit. And there's so many great people that make us what we are.
When are you going to run for an MP then?
Nah, that ain't a bit of me. I don't think. Look. Listen, I've got 3 beautiful children. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got successful businesses. I'm busy every day, and I've got 14 staff that rely on me day in, day out. So I need to get that in order first. Look, once I've built myself up, and I can sit back and I don't have to work every day because I've got so many overheads, like. Then potentially I could go into. I'm not saying I ain't gonna, but potentially when I can afford to, I'll see if I can help.
OK, all right. I've got a heck of a lot to talk to you about, by the way, because we want to be talking about you are a trader, you know a deal. People met you first on The Apprentice. Yeah. Well, President Trump seems to have mastered the art of the deal, certainly when it comes to Greenland today. So we're going to have a little bit of chat about that. I also want to talk to you about pubs. I know you're very passionate about pubs. Pubs are in crisis at the minute. So, yeah, look, there's a huge amount to go at as well. And we might even squeeze in a little bit about Strictly Come Dancing, but let's just wait and see.
This interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN and their New Year deal. New Year, new VPN, and a huge saving of up to 80% if you act now. You're busy planning how to get in shape, but the hackers are planning how to get into your accounts. ExpressVPN locks down your connection so you can start the year protecting your data. So scan the QR code or click the link in the description now.
Some big breaking news tonight. President Trump has dropped his threats to impose tariffs on countries who refuse to support his plans to acquire Greenland. But of course, the big news about that is that despite all these threats and everything, NATO have caved in, it appears, and they have reached some kind of deal. Some would say this is the art of the deal. It comes just hours after the Prime Minister said, I will not be swayed by Trump. I won't cave in over these threats. Well, it looks like they have, haven't they? But Tom Skinner joins us now. you are obviously, you know, a trader, you're a grafter, you work hard, you know a deal when you see one.
Of course, yeah.
What do you see when you look at President Trump?
The thing that I like about President Trump is he says it exactly how it is. Now, I think we've got a problem in this country, and we've had it for a long time, that politicians don't always do what they say. They sort of say something to get you on side, and yet you go down the road and it doesn't happen. And that upsets a lot of people because they put their trust and their faith into politicians. Yet with Trump, he says it and it happens, you know, like, and that's quite refreshing to see, I suppose. And I don't think he cares either, does he? Do you know, he doesn't care if he ups. You know, it's Trump's one, and that's how it's going to be. And he does show, whether you like him or whether you don't, he shows a lot of power. Do you know what I mean? And he shows the world that. Do
you think we need to do a bit more of that here?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, listen, how can we go from being the greatest country in the world to a little bit of a laughing stock sometimes? You know, like as much as I don't want to dig care out on a telly, but. Like, you wouldn't want him if he's having a fight in a pub, do you know what I'm saying? You need someone with a little bit who's going to stick up for you, wouldn't you? Do you know what I'm saying?
Try and prosecute you.
Yeah. You just want someone, you know, that if he's going to kick off, they got your back.
Yeah, well, no, I get that. No, also, I couldn't let you get going without asking, you met JD Vance when he was in the Cotswolds, is that right?
I did, yeah.
Well, how did that come about, and what was that like?
Mate, so... little bizarre. I'm a market trader and got a message off of the Vice President of America on my Twitter, basically saying, look, found your videos, like, love the positivity you're spreading to the world. Like, I'm coming to the Cotswolds. I'd love to meet you if you're available. And I thought, wow, look, this is the Vice President. This is the second most powerful man in the world. He's messaging me. So I messaged back going, oh, look, this, that, the other. And look, whether you agree, whether you're a Republican or not, or you agree with their politics or not, you're not really ever going to get asked by someone like to go and meet you for a barbecue. And so you've got to say yes. And I was like, wow, this is a bit of a big opportunity, you know what I mean? I feel a bit privileged. He's asked me. Everyone, he's asked me. So I took my wife and my kids down to Blenheim Palace. Beautiful, walk around the gardens, middle of the summer, it was beautiful, had a lovely day out. Goes back to the hotel, obviously security risk, couldn't take my wife and kids. But during the day, I said, babe, I said, we've got to get something to the Vice President. So we got a big bottle of Laurent Perrier Rosé champagne, lovely box of chocolates, and she bought a massive tub of water bombs for his kids, because his kids are here. So as we're going down to the Cotswolds to see him, I've got my suit on, I'm sitting in the thing, and we get stopped. We get all the big joggers and security checks, and they've gone, Tom, what's in the bag? I said, it's some gifts for the Vice President. I said, I've got a nice bottle of Laurent Perrier champagne, a lovely box of chocolates, and some water bombs. I thought, why have I said bombs, Tom, you numpty? And they all started laughing, let me through, and we sat down, and like maddest thing was, he was a normal guy, not a nice normal guy. We sat down, he said, what do you want to eat, what do you want to drink? We smashed down about 10 Moretti's, got on the whiskies, started eating a bit of steak, and just had a really, really fun night in the beautiful Cotswolds countryside. It was a bit bizarre, you know?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I'm very jealous that I wasn't there by the sounds of things. Now, look, one of the topics I really want to talk to you about, because it is, for a lot of people, it's the biggest issue of the day. And I know it might be a little bit controversial, but I think now people are speaking more freely about it, and it is a bit to do with immigration. And one of the reasons why I wanted to was because you're good mates with Rylan, aren't you?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, right. Yeah, family friend,
yeah. I mean, we stuck up for Rylan, by the way, and rightly so. We'll continue to stand up for Rylan, because there is this clip of him on ITV. I don't think he said anything wrong here, and some people decided to come for it.
This is the narrative we're being fed. Here's the hotel, here's the phones, here's the iPad, here's the NHS in reception of your hotel, here's 3 meals a day, here's a games room in the hotel, have a lovely time and welcome. And then there's people that have lived here all their lives that are struggling. Yeah.
Now, he went against the kind of establishment lovey-lefty narrative there, and he got a bit of flack for it, all right, which I think was incredibly unfair. What are your views when it comes to the immigration situation that we've got in Britain at the moment?
Well, I'd say straight, yeah. Like, nah, if I was in a war-torn country with my children and my family, I would do exactly the same. I would get myself to somewhere like France, like Germany, like England, where I'm safe. That's asylum, yeah?
Yeah.
However, and by the way, this country was built on immigration. You've got to remember that. There's, you know, look at all the businesses as well, all around the country. Immigration is a good thing if it's legal. But illegal immigration, I think, is wrong. You know, the problem that we're having is, if it's that easy to get in the country, why don't you jump on a Ryanair flight 30 quid and get into England? But you don't, right? So what happens is people pay £5,000 to get into the country illegally and put pressure on our system when they're not actually coming from war-torn countries. Do you know what I mean? It's a big difference. People get this wrong. Big difference between people looking for asylum and getting out of war-torn countries, which have got every right to be here, yeah? But people that are hurting the system and coming here illegally, that is wrong. Do you know what I mean? And we are a bit of a soft touch. Look, we do, like, whether you like it or not, you do get given better things if you come here illegally. You do.
You do. No, and you do. And I want to stress that is not a controversial thing to say. You do.
And I'm going to say one thing that we are so under pressure, yeah? There is a shortage of houses and houses prices are going up and up and up and up because there is not enough houses. Yet the council are making it 2 years, 4 years, 5 years to get planning on certain parts of land. Why is that? Yeah, as well, the NHS is stretched to the absolute core and it's having to give away contracts that it doesn't really understand to people that are really taking the mick out of the NHS by overcharging, leaving less money to employ less people. And then it's half our fault as well because we've imported cheap labour from abroad and then become lazy that we've got people doing jobs that that's not enough money for me. Well, what are you going to do then? We're going to get yourself onto the system and that is where I get upset with Labour because we used to be known from the French as a country of shopkeepers, yeah, as a country of entrepreneurs. Yet we're making it too desirable not to work. Now, I will say this now, and I don't care what I say here, right, is if you are unwell, you have a disability, you have a problem, the benefit system is for you and it's fantastic and you deserve to have whatever you like. However, if you are abusing that system, that's not for you. We're too much of a soft touch. And people should go out there and proud, but we're making it too easy. Why bother going and getting a job or taking a risk starting a business if you can sit on your arse and get it given to you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, look, I'm inclined to agree with you as well, and I think it's nice actually to see kind of like normal people actually speaking up about this stuff now because I think it shows that the problem's obviously got so big that we can't ignore it. Now, there's a lot more I want to talk to you about. I know that you're big at the moment, you've always been big, but you're big especially at the moment on men's mental health. Pubs as well. So we're going to be talking about all of that. But yes, coming up. Yes, well, I want to talk about, was he always set up to fail there when it came to Strictly? And what about this left-wing pile-on that seems to be happening all the time as well? That's next. Thomas Skinner is still with us in the studio. Well, there's lots to go at, of course. Now, a lot of people will know Thomas from his stint on Strictly. One of the things that stood out for me about that, though, was the kind of pile-on that happens, kind of lefty pile-on that always happens there. So I want to ask you a bit about that. Like, what do you make of the reaction that you got there? And do you feel like you were set up to fail? And did it affect your mental health at all?
I mean, obviously, listen, I must sell papers because I was front page of the newspapers 30 times in under 6 months, which is quite bizarre. And not everything was true. It was a bit, and everything was exaggerated. And I did notice social media, I got some absolute pelters. Yeah. Which ain't nice. It ain't nice to see, like, especially my family. Like, it ain't the best thing in the world. But luckily, I'm very lucky that I've got a very strong head on me, yeah, and nothing gets me down. That's why I use my platform for the good. I don't know, you've probably seen them. I get up, I go to the cafe called Dino's in New Spitalfield Market. I do a video most mornings. Come on, you lovely people. We're going to go out today. We're going to have a great day out. And we ain't going home until we're proud. And I've always pushed myself. And without my friends and my family around me, listen, I've got a good support network, a very good support network. And listen, it weren't nice, but I've never, ever, ever met anyone in my life, in the street, on a bus, in a train, in the city, at a pub, on a walk, ever say anything bad to me like they've said to me online, which I find bizarre. And this got me and my mate Robert over there, Robert Hisee.
Robert's in the studio with us, by the way. I was going to intro him in a second, but Robert Hisee, who is all will be revealed why he's here in a second. But yes, go on.
And look, this is my mate. He's the UK's #1 mind therapist, and he lives about 200, 300 metres from my house. And by the way, Stevie, I know you're watching. I'm not forgetting about you, my neighbour Stevie. He comes out and walks as well. And we go on these little walks, and we have a little walk, and we was doing it, and he was saying to me, he's going, mate, you and I've been through some ag time, haven't you? You know what I mean? And I said, look, mate, we keep on going. We don't bow down. We got things to do. Don't let it bother us. And we had a lovely walk. I said, to be honest, it's these walks we're doing are really, really helping us. And Rob said, well, look, we've got to start using your platform, mate. And I said, 100%, let's do it. And so we organised these walks, which are men supporting men, every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. at the Thatcher's Arms. It's a judgment-free place. Anyone is welcome from any walk of life. Men from, you know, boys all the way up to old men can come, and we just go out there. If you've had a bad week, come there and vent. If you've had a good week, come there and lift someone up. And it's just a lovely thing that we're doing. And my mate here, the UK's #1, he's with us every week.
Let's bring you in. Thank you for joining us this evening, by the way. Why is it so important at the moment to be pushing men's mental health? Why are these walks so important?
I tell you why, because, you know, men don't speak about their emotions as much as women. It's just a known fact, yeah? When I was a kid, my dad mugged me off like, shut up, liven up, you know. You couldn't speak about it, you'd get shamed and embarrassed. And I think since COVID, the world's changed a lot in that way, you know. People had time to sit and think, and a lot of men now are being a lot more open with their children's mental health and get them to talk out. So why I think this is so important is that the human mind can only think how you feel, and we're creating an environment that you can feel safe. So if you don't feel safe and you can feel embarrassed and shamed, you ain't going to talk. So, you know, in 2 million years, there's never been a human being, while experiencing the emotion of sadness, could make a happy thought. If you feel sad, you make sad thoughts. If something triggers you to feel anxiety, then your brain checks in the body and goes, you're feeling anxious right now. We've got to make more correspondent thoughts. And then you start thinking within the chemical boundaries of how you feel. So, you know, the first thing we have to do with mental health, you know, people turn up with all sorts of problems. It's been really amazing working with people. And, you know, we do a talk at the beginning. I do a big talk, and I do like a teach them about the mind at the beginning for 10, 15 minutes. And Tom motivates them over his speeches, gets them all going, and then we go out and do our, you know, hour and a half walk. And the thing is, once you get the environment right, that's when people can feel safe. They'll start opening up, and
that's great.
That's
I mean, it's vitally important, and it will save lives.
Well, mate, you know, like I did mention earlier, like the biggest killer in men my age is suicide, and it's so sad. Like, well, look, I've lost people to suicide and mental health, and so has Rob, and I'm sure you have too. And look, if one bloke turns up on a Sunday morning, walks around, has a bacon sandwich with us, and it helps him out, then that's all that matters, and we'll carry on doing it every week.
One of the other things, we've only got a few seconds here. One of the other aspects of this, of course, is the pub, right?
Of course.
We're losing too many pubs.
Yeah.
Prince William's just come out. He's doing a bit of a campaign to back pubs. Presumably you support Prince William's campaign to try and support 100%. The pub. Why is the pub important, Tom? Go on,
mate, the great British pub, a British institution that has been there from the beginning, where us great people go to work, we end up at the end of the week, right, we sit here with our lovely pints of the golden nectar, with our friends, good week, have a pint, bad week, have a pint, we go as a community, right, we support one another, local jobs, supporting local farmers, it's a great thing. You cannot beat the pub, they are fantastic. Please stop putting the price of beer up. Please start supporting pubs. Listen, what I hate as well, the supermarkets, you can go and buy 24 beers for a tenner, so the alcoholic can sit on their own, who's got a problem with a drink. You go in a pub, and we've all said, someone will go in there, have a pint, and get walked home by the locals. It's a community thing, looking after each other. I'm going on too much, Bosh.
No, fantastic. All right, guys, look, Robert, thank you very much, mate. Thank you for coming. Tom, thank you very much. We've got an action-packed hour coming your way. Looks like President Trump might have had Keir Starmer's pants down. You'd love to see it. We're going to talk about all of that.